in the last class we have seen that how to convert that fiber into fabrics. Yes, we have studied that the cotton is obtained from the cotton plant. So we have to take on the cotton, then we have to separate that cotton seed from cotton. Then the cotton we will send it to the factory. In the factory, so they will take out the fibers, and those fibers they will take it in the groups. Okay, then they will make into a, means they will take the cotton, then they will take out the fibers, they will separate that fibers, and then they will take the bundles of fibers and then they will convert it into yarn. So yarn also you can call it as thread. See, whatever you are seeing that thread in your home, okay, in the cloths, that we can call it as yarn. Yarn also we can call it as thread. Okay, so these fibers we are taking the cotton, and from the cotton we will take out the fiber, and the fibers we will convert it into yarn. Okay, so now yarn is ready. Now what we have to do, using yarn we have to make into a fabrics. Okay, so we will going to see that how we can convert the yarn into fabrics. See, if you want to make fabrics are available in different types. So basically whatever the fabrics which are present, that all fabrics are made by two methods. Okay, whatever the fabrics which are present, I am talking about fabric cloths, I am not talking about the stitched cloth. Okay, unstitched cloth, that fabrics, there are two types of fabrics. Whatever the cloths if you want to make, whatever the fabrics if you want to make, so you require yarn. Without yarn we cannot make the fabric. Okay, so obviously you know that from the cotton you are taking, from cotton we made into a fiber, and those fiber we are converted into yarn by spinning process. Okay, now yarn is ready. Now we need to make a fabrics. See, whatever the fabrics we are wearing today, that all fabrics are made by two methods. One is the methods I am telling you, methods of making fabrics. Okay, two methods. The first one is weaving method. Weaving method. Okay, and second one is knitting method. Knitting method. Knitting method. Knitting method. Okay, there are two techniques we are using, weaving method and knitting method. Using these method they made the fabrics, whatever the fabrics, either you are wearing shirts, either you are wearing pants, either you are wearing saris or socks, sweaters, whatever the kind of cloths you are wearing, those cloths, basically the cloth piece were made by two methods. One is weaving methods, another one is knitting method. So we are going to discuss what is this weaving method. Okay, weaving method means you require two kinds of yarn. Okay, you require a long yarn. So yarn is ready, that, and you require a very long yarn. Okay, so you require two sets of yarn. Two sets of yarn. Please try to understand what I am saying. That is, two sets of yarn is required. You have to take two sets of yarn. If you want to make that weaving pattern, you require two sets of yarn. You require two sets of yarn. Okay, so what I used to do is, I am taking one set of yarn like this. Okay, this is one setup. Okay, so all one set of yarn I will put it in the vertical. Okay, so like this, one set of yarn I used to take in the vertical section, like this. Take one set of yarn in the vertical section, and another set of yarn you need to take in horizontal section. See, in horizontal what you have to do, you have to put the yarn in the upside, again down, up, down, like this you have to put that. Okay, again you have to put it here. Okay, so you can see that the cloth piece will be in this manner. Okay, so you can see that this pattern, you can see the activity also given in that 6th class. Okay, you have to prepare that the weaving pattern sets. Okay, like this. So you can see any of the cloth piece, you can see. Look at your cloth piece. The arrangement will be like this one. Whatever I drawn in this way only, it was arranged. Okay, so weaving pattern means what? Weaving methods. Weaving is a process or a method in which the two sets of yarn is used to make a fabric. Okay, two sets of yarn is used to make a fabric. That techniques we are call it as weaving method. Okay, one is we can call it as the vertical section, we can call it as weft. Okay, this vertical section of yarn we can call it as weft, and second one is, okay, one is that we can call it as weft, the vertical section. Horizontal we can call it as theft. So weft and they are used in the vertical section. So that means what, in the weaving method we are using two different sets of yarn. Understood? So using two different kind of sets of yarn is used to make a fabric. That method of fabrics we can call it as weaving process. Hope so everybody is understand. So if they are asking define weaving process or weaving method, so then how we can define? So we need to take two sets of yarn. One is vertical section of yarn, another one is horizontal section of yarn. So then we need to be join this this yarn with this in this pattern. If you have prepared the cloth, that cloth we can call it as weaving pattern cloth. And basically weaving pattern cloth where we are using making shirts. Okay, manufacturing of shirts, pants, saris. Okay, so these kind of cloths we can manufacture using weaving process. Okay, so please note down. So example for weaving method says example you can give like shirts, you can give that shirts, your shirts are made by weaving methods. Okay, pants are made by weaving methods. Saris are also made by weaving methods, etc. You can write etc. Okay, hope so you understand about what is weaving methods or weaving techniques. So next we will going to see that the next method, knitting method. Okay, shall I go to rub now? Okay, I am going to rub now. So now I am going to teach you about the next technique, that is knitting. So next is second technique is knitting. So in this technique you require only one set of yarn. Only one set of yarn. Only one set of yarn is necessary to make the knitting process. So how you have to do that? Take that a long one set of yarn. Okay, so like suppose I am taking this. See, I am going to do like this. First I am taking a long set of yarn. Okay, see, a long thread I am taking. So then what you have to do? Again from this you have to do this. So like this and like this and like this. See, only one set. Okay, only one set. You can make this like this. So basically whatever that in knitting methods they are taking only single set of yarn they will take, and they will going to be make the fabrics. So that we can call it as knitting process. In knitting process only one set of yarn is taken and they will going to use to make a fabric. That fabric we can call it as knitting method. So example for knitting methods, you can see that some example. If you want to see that some example for knitting process is we can see for sweaters. Sweaters are made by knitting method. Sweaters. Whatever today you are wearing the sweaters. Sweaters are made by knitting methods. Okay, next socks. Socks also you can made by manufactured by knitting methods. Okay, sweater, socks. Okay, some of the shawls also were made by knitting method. Once if the thread is taken out, suppose sometimes you can see in that especially the socks, if you are going to take out that thread, the whole socks thread it will comes like that, because the single set of yarn is used in the making the fabric. That fabric we can call it as knitting method. Understood? Now two methods we have studied. One is that weaving method, another one is knitting method. This is how the fabrics made. Once again I will tell you how we will get the fiber. So first the farmers are growing crops, the farmers are growing cotton. After growing cotton, once if the cotton is comes to the field, The farmers using hand picking method, they will take out the cotton, then they will send it to the factory. In factory, they will going to separate cotton seed separately and cotton separately. That method we can call it as ginning or ginning. Okay, using combing, they will going to separate it. Then after separating of cotton seed and cotton, then cotton they will going to take and they will going to separate it fibers. Okay, after taking that fibers, and they will take 3 or 4 fibers, set of fiber, and these 3 or 4 set of fibers they will convert it into yarn. Okay, and the yarn we can also call it as thread, and this yarn using 2 techniques, one is weaving techniques, another one is knitting techniques, they will going to make a fabrics. Ultimately fabric is ready, the cloth is ready now, and the cloth piece is sending for the stitching process. If they want pant, if they want shirts, if they want any other kind of cloths, so they will going to be stitching it, and it comes to the market, and we used to be purchasing that. Yeah? And after making the fabric also, coloring also they will do that. Coloring is a different part. Okay. So ultimately what we need to understand, how they will make fiber to fabric. That is what our main concept will be. So hope so everyone is understand how to make fiber to fabric. Okay, so next we will take another material now. Now we will going to take the next material. Now I will going to take that next material. Next I am going to take second material. Second natural fiber I am going to take. Second natural fibers. Second natural fibers I am going to take. That is jute. So now I am going to take next one. So second natural fiber is jute. Yes, and jute is also, you can call it as natural fiber. It's a natural fiber. So natural fiber. Natural fiber. Okay. So where we will get the jute? Jute is obtained from jute plant. Jute is obtained from jute plant. So basically this jute plant in India, they will grow in different states, especially jute plants, mostly they are grown in West Bengal. West Bengal, you can see that. In this particular state they will grow more jute plants. West Bengal, and you can see that Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, Arunachal Pradesh. And if it comes to the south, Andhra Pradesh also they will grow. Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so etc. Many states they are growing this jute plant. So what are the conditions necessary for growing this jute plant? So any jute plants, if you want to grow, basically it requires some of that, especially they will grow in rainy seasons. Okay, so in which season they will grow this jute plant? They grow in rainy seasons. Rainy seasons. It requires lots of water. Rainy seasons they will grow. Okay, and once if you planted this jute plant, so it comes after 1 month or 1.5 months. Okay, the jute plant, it comes to the, after showing a seed. Okay, so after that few months it will comes to that flowering stage. When jute plant comes to the flowering stage, when jute plants comes to the flowering, that means you take the jute plants you planted in the land. After planted, after few months, the jute plants, it will comes to the flowering stage. In flowering stage, okay, they will going to do the harvesting. So please note down, especially the jute plants, exactly in the flowering stage only we have to do the harvesting. When jute plants are started to bear the flowers, by that time only we have to harvest. Suppose after the flowering stage, if you are going to harvest a jute plant, you will not going to get the quality of jute. If you want to get quality of jute, so basically we need to harvest it when it comes to the flowering stage. Harvest it means cutting of jute plants. So when we have to do that cutting of jute plants, we have to do in that when we have to harvest it when it comes to the flowering stage. Harvesting. So harvesting has to be done when it is coming to the flowering stage. Okay, that you have to keep it in your mind. Okay, so after harvested, so what we have to do, that all the jute plants, basically the jute plants, it will become tall. Okay, it will become 3 to 4 meters, it will be height, it will be there. So once if you have harvested this jute plant, then you have to keep this all the jute plants in the bundles. Like you can take that 5-6 jute plants, you take it. First you have to spread it on the field. After harvested, you have to keep that whatever the jute plants, you have to be dried out at least 3 to 4 days, because whatever the leaves are there, it should be gets dried. Okay, at least 1 week you have to keep this whatever that jute plants are there, you have to keep in field. Okay, so for 1 week, keep 1 week on the field, 1 week on field. So you have to be, as it is, you have to dry this. You have to dry this jute plants at least a week. So after 1 week, after 8 days, that all the leaves will become dried out. So you will going to get the stem part. See which part of the jute we will go, which part of the jute plants we will get the jute stem. Please note down. So we have to in harvest after flowering stage, we will harvesting that, and after harvested we have to keep it for 1 week or 8 days at least. You need to dry it. Okay, so the stem of the jute plant, stem of the jute plant, you have to be make a bundles. You have to take the stem of the jute plant after 8 days. I am talking about after 8 days. You have to take the stem of the jute plant. Then you have to make the bundles. One bundles you have to make. Like 5-6 jute plant you can take. Stem of the jute plant you can take. Make a 1 bundle. Another 5-6 jute plant you can take. A stem of the jute plant you take. Another make the bundles. So like that you have to make a bundles. And after making the bundles, next what we have to do is you have to rotten into the water. That means you have to soak that jute stem into the water. You have to soak, and you can call it as, you can soak jute stem in water, stem in water. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to take the jute, the bundles of jute plant you need to take, then you have to put it in the water. Okay, so you have to put in this water for 2 to 3 days. When you are putting this jute plants in the water for 2 to 3 days, that complete jute stem, it will become rotten and it will become soft. After absorbing that water, it will become soft. So then farmers, they will take out that jute stem and they will take out the threads from that. Okay, did you understand? They will take out the jute stem and slowly they will take out the threads one by one. So then ultimately they will going to get the jute. Okay, so after the jute stem in 3 days or 4 days, and when it is become rotten jute, then you have to take out the threads from the stem. Take out the threads from stem. Okay, then you have to take out the threads from the stem. So after that thread, the color of the thread will be, the color of the thread will be generally golden brown in color. The jute amesha means, you can see that the jute fiber, the color will be golden brown color, and also the texture will be, generally jute plant texture will be shiny in nature, slightly shiny in nature, or else you can also call it as lustrous in nature. Did you understand? Okay, this golden brown color of jute threads they will take out, and it will be shiny texture. The texture will be shiny or lustrous. And then that jute threads, what they will do, they will use it for different purposes. What we can make from the jute fiber today is, in jute fiber also we can make the fabrics. And today you can see that the coats or the suits and coats, or most of the suits and coats are made by jute fiber. Suits we can make from the jute fiber. suits we can make, and the coats fabrics means that upper jackets were made by jute fiber, and these are very cheap in the market nowadays. The suits and all we are getting in very less, means very less price you will get it in this. Okay, suppose anyway is most of the dresses, if you are purchasing the suits and other things, it will become costlier. Cotton suits or woolen suits, it's very costly. So then those people who was not able to afford that higher cost, they can go for jute. Suits are available, coats are available, they can purchase it. Apart from suits and coats, they will not going to make a simple fabric. Simple fabrics is not made by that, because jute fiber is texture is rough. Please note down, the texture of jute is rough. The texture of the jute fiber will be rough. So that's why what we have to do, we should not going to use for making fabrics. Okay, only except suits and coats. Okay. So understood? That means that jute texture will be rough. So that's why we are not going to use to make shirts, pants, sarees from this jute. But we can make only that some certain kind of suits we can make from jute fibers. That's all. And apart from that, you can see some of the uses when you are talking about uses of jute fiber. Basically, the jute fiber we can use for number of purposes. Like the jute threads, we can make into a most of that. If you want to tie that sacks, basically we are using this threads. Okay, jute threads we can use as. Okay, we can make it to jute threads. Threads are useful in our day-to-day life activities. Okay, jute threads are used to tie sacks, etc. And second use of this jute fiber will be, jute fiber we can use this to make sacks. Whatever you can make, variety kind of sacks we can make. Jute sacks. Jute is useful for making sacks. Jute is useful for making sacks. You know that what is a sack? Sacks means boring. Okay, so that we can make using this jute fiber. Okay, then apart from the third use will becomes third use of jute fiber. Jute fiber nowadays you can see in the market, most of that, if you are purchasing some, if you are going for do the purchasing in the malls, so most of the malls they are providing jute bags. So jute fiber is useful for manufacturing. Jute fibers are using for making jute bags. Jute bags, it's very famous bags now. It's in all markets, it will be easily available. Okay, so jute fiber is useful for making threads, and jute fiber is making sacks, making sacks, and jute fiber is making jute bags. Okay, and still many uses will be there from the jute, and these are the main uses of jutes. And making suits. See, when they are asking what are the uses of jute, you have to say jute fiber is used to make suits and coats. Okay, second, jute fiber is useful for making threads, for tying the sacks, and to manufacturing sacks. Jute sacks are available in the market. Okay, then nowadays you can see that jute fiber is also useful for making jute bags. Okay, these are the main uses of jutes. And next you can see that apart from this, so hope so everybody is understand about the jute fiber. So next I was going to start with that next concept. As the next natural fiber I am going to take. Our next natural fiber is flax. Flax fibers. Flax fiber. The flax fibers basically which is obtained from the flax plants. You can see that it's also one kind of category of plants. The flax plant. The flax plants. So this is slightly, it will become costly. You can call it as, what is that cloth's name? We can call it as flax cloth is linen cloths. The linen cloths are made by these flax plants. Okay, the linen cloths. So the linen cloths are made by this flax fiber, and you can see that this flax fiber texture is good. It's good quality. It's similar to the cotton. Okay, and also costlier. It's a very good quality. The flax fibers we can also call it as linen. This linen kind of cloths are made by this flax fibers. Okay, and you can see that in your syllabus the flax fiber is not there, but additional informations we are going to be adding on these flax fibers. Understood? Okay, hope so you are understanding that flax planks are also useful for making that linen cloths. Whatever today it comes, many shirts are there, sarees are there. Okay, a variety kind of fabrics are made by these flax fibers. Okay, and you can see that nowadays the bags, whatever you can call it as bag strips, the bag strips are also made by these flax fibers. Okay, your bag strips and the cloths, linen cloths are manufactured by using flax fibers. Okay, the flax fiber also one of the natural fibers. We can also call it as, this is one of the natural plant fibers. Natural plant fibers. We can also call it as natural plant fibers. Okay, so we will going to be discuss that next. Hope so you will understand. Flax fiber is also known as natural plant fibers. Okay, and which is useful for manufacturing of linen cloths. And second, your bag strips. The bag strips are made by flax fibers. Okay. So next is the last one is from the plant fiber is coir. Okay, the last fibers from this plant fiber is coir. So coir is the fibers which is obtained from coconut shells. Means outer part of coconut shell. Outer part of coconut shell. Outer part of coconut shell, we can call it as coir. Okay, basically this coir which is useful for many purposes. This generally has coir texture. Its texture will becomes very rough and hard. Hard and rough surface. Hard and rough surface. Hard and rough surface. So this coir fibers we are not going to use to make fabrics. So coir is not useful for making fabric. It is not useful for making fabric, for making fabrics. Okay, did you understand? So coir is not useful for making fabrics, but the coir fiber we can use it for different purposes. So if you want to see that uses of coir, if you want to see, basically we can use it for manufacturing of doormats. You can see today the coir doormats are available in the market. Okay, it's a very cheap and best, you can easily purchase it. Okay, so coir fiber is useful for making doormats. Okay, it's useful for making doormats, mats. Okay, second coir use will becomes, coir is also useful for making ropes. You can see that the coir ropes is also available in the market, very cheap. You can also prepared by you. Okay, so that the coir is also useful for making ropes. Okay, so that means especially that coir is useful for making doormats and making ropes, and also in small carpets also they are making using this coir. Okay, understood now? So coir is also one of the natural fibers. We can also call it as, this is also one of the natural plant fibers. This is also one of the natural plant fibers. So this is what that information about that coir. So hope so we have completed 4 plant fibers. One is cotton, next jute, okay, next flax fibers, and next we have completed about coir. Okay, there are 4 plant fiber are there. Please remember one thing, especially in the cotton fibers, they will ask what are the necessary conditions for growing a cotton fibers. Okay, so then you have to explain. Then they will ask what are the uses of cotton. You can give that number of uses. Cotton is useful for making varieties of fabrics such as shirts, pants, sarees. Okay, varieties, numerous of fabrics we can made by cotton. Then apart from that, cotton is used to make pillows, cotton is used to make beds, cotton is used to make that agarbattis, diyas, for lighting diyas, that the cotton is also used. Cotton is useful in hospitals, for in bandages. If you are making bandages, there also it's useful. And apart from that fabrics, cotton is useful for a number of purposes. Okay. Then after that, we have studied about jute. So how we are growing the jute fibers. Okay. Then after that, how we are growing out the jute fibers. Then uses of jute fibers we have seen. Then we came to the flax fibers. Okay. And the flax fibers, where they will going to be used. So that we have seen. And finally, we have seen that coir will be the last plant natural fibers. And we have seen that the outer part of the coconut shell only we can call it as coir, and it is hard and it's a rough surface, and it's not useful for making fabrics. Its texture is very hard, so that's why. But we can use it for making doormats and making ropes, etc. And that is what the information of coir. Okay. Hope so you all enjoy and understand about this 4 natural fibers. Okay. That last topic from this chapter, that is history of clothing. So that next, our last topic from this chapter, that is history of clothing. Okay, you can see that the last topic from this concept will be history of clothing. History of clothing. History of clothing. History of clothing. So what is this history of clothing? History of clothing means in human beings, when that human beings was born in the earth. So then slowly, what are the different kind of, starting only we didn't get the clothes, right? In the starting, what human beings are used to wear, how human beings have protected themselves, because this clothing is one of the major, use of cloths. Why we need to use that human beings is, the cloths are protecting us. Okay, cloths are protecting us. That is the main reasons we need to wear the cloths. So in olden days, if you go back to that, when human evolution was started, so by the time what they used to wear, when starting human, in the starting first, when the first generation, if you want to see, so by the time human beings are not wearing anything, right? So they are, as it is, they are roaming in the entire, the place. But after that, when human beings are understanding himself, okay, when that he was becoming intelligent, then first he started to use, that leaf. He is used to take the big leaves, and he is tying that leaf, and he used to wear the leaf on the below waist part, and basically the below waist part is covered. And also they used to, means first the history of clothing came, first they started to wear leaf. They will take big leaf and they will tie up, and they used to do this. Okay, leaf are using first, then slowly, then after that leaf is using that, then they started to hunting that animals. By the times human beings are also, they are hunting animals, they are eating that animals, the flesh and all, and the animal skin, they are getting these animal skin, they will started to make them clothing. By the times next, they have started to make that animal skin. That means animal skin they are using, animal skin are using for making the fabrics. Then after that, slowly that it was the coming generations, then they started to grow that. When agriculture was started, then they started to use this cotton and other things, that directly they used to use the cotton, and then ultimately came to the fabrics. Then they used to use cotton. Then cotton, they will started to make its own kind of fabrics. By the time, just they will combine all the cotton, and they used to be wearing that by the time. Then the slowly the coming generations, they are using cotton, they are using self animal fibers, they are using. Then they are making fabrics, and they started to use it. Then they are started to use that cotton, and they are converting that fibers, okay, and then converting the fibers, and ultimately that fibers is converted into fabrics. So if the history of clothing, if you want to see, first they used to wear leaf, then animal skin they used to, then followed by they used to wear direct cottons, and then they will take out the fibers and then they started to make the fabrics. That is how that you can see history of clothing materials. If you want to see that in human beings, these are the ways of making the history of clothing. Okay, so that we have successfully completed our chapter, that is fiber to fabrics. Okay, so any of the doubts, if you are facing any doubts or any means the problems you are facing in this chapter, you can anytime you can contact me, and your number, my number is there with you, and you can contact me on WhatsApp and you can ask your doubts and get that clarified. No need to hesitate. Whatever the things, if you feel not to understand or you need to understand much more deeper, so you can contact and you can ask your queries. Thank you. So we can see that in the next coming class, the next chapter we are going to start. Thank you.